Well, good morning. I'm here on a brisk January day with Patty Evans. And Patty, it's such a pleasure to have you sitting across from me.
Nice to be here, Bob. Thanks for inviting me.
Her husband was the first HOG recipient back in 2012. And I got to know Scott through a Bible study group that we were in on Friday mornings. He was a special person, and Patty is a special lady to me because she has stayed involved with HOG, attends as many dinners as she can when she's not out of town, and she's not here with us tonight because of that. But let's talk a little bit first about Scott.
All right.
Everybody at North Star knew Scott Evans. His heart was as big as this building, and
his smile was even bigger.
His smile was bigger. And when Scott was sick, going into the last phase of cancer, one of the recipients of HOG needed some work done in his house. And Scott shouldn't have been doing it, but that's the kind of person he was. He was always willing to give back.
That's true.
You know, and that's why, other than Patty, everybody else loved him too, because he was that kind of person. And he's helped me with what I've tried to make of HOG and how I've tried to make it. It's not about me, it's about you. And Patty, just a little bit about Scott. It's almost 7 years now, isn't it?
It is. April will be 7 years.
What has made you stay involved and close to HOG?
Well, Scott was very, very proud to be the first recipient for HOG, and it really, really touched his heart that you wanted to do that. So, and to see the Welcome to Scott Evans Hall just really touches my heart. So that's really special. But you know, it's such a wonderful organization that you just have to give back. You just have to continue to be involved, and because you know what other people are going through. And you just want to be part of something that's really good and bigger than you.
And that's what's really hard, because on Sundays, we get such a great bunch of people that come to this church, and you don't know what's going on with the guy in your left or the person behind you.
That's right.
And I thought it would be important, you know, we've had Mike Lynch up here and Larry Robinson, and I thought it would be really nice to have the first lady Hogette, the first Hogette. And
well, I think you can look back and see that when Scott was leading music with Eric, that he was going through chemo. He was going through radiation at that time.
Right, and he even looked a little like me up here.
He did for sure. So, you know, to see somebody just push through and still want to serve and still want to give just challenges me. But, you know, to see where HOG has come, you know, to see that you can fill up the sanctuary, the Compass Center, with just tables and tables of people that want to come out and love on somebody. That's how you get through it. It's not about the money. The money's great. The money is a well-needed addition. But it's the love. It's the love that you get, the support that you get from the people that just are there to just say, you know what, we care. You know, we want to walk this journey with you. So I want to be a person that walks the journey with someone.
Well, I thank you for that, but that's really been, the money is materialistic. What is the fellowship and to look around and see people you've never seen and most likely won't ever see again, who took an ordinary Tuesday night and changed it into an extraordinary Tuesday, and the love that's there. And it's an honor. It's an honor to serve you and I still be friends, and I look forward to those Sunday morning hugs and everything. So just
I love you.
I love you too, Patty, and thanks for taking the time to talk about Scott Evans.
I'm going to be doing the prayer before we eat, so let us all bow our heads. Father, we are coping with an empty seat at our table. Be with the one we are without tonight, and help us to trust in your timing, your purpose, and great love for us all. As we miss Sherilyn Taitt tonight, we pray your blessing over her and us, and the space in between now and when we see her next. Until then, May this food bless our bodies and give us strength to endure the days ahead. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm Lori DeForest, and tonight I have the pleasure of welcoming Helping One Guy's honoree, Tesfa Taitt. I'm sure you've all heard, read, or know about the incredible love story that he has and had with his wife, Sherilyn. When I read it, I was very touched and very moved. It's something that I think we all strive to have, everything we want. So tonight, because we know of her story, we're going to focus a little bit more on Tesfa. Because you see, I realized that it was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, his life changed. It was in October of 2020. And as we all moved forward from that moment, oh, so much was going on. We had Halloween, we had the election, we had all of the holidays, we had more holidays, we had so much going on, and now we find ourselves in April. But Tesfa was still somewhat still in October, because Tesfa's life stopped on that day. I know this because I too have walked in his shoes. I have been there, and I know what that is like. There was a verse that I always went to during this particular time, and I'm going to share that verse with you right now. It's called James 1:12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Persevere under trial. That is what Tesfa has done and continues to do and will continue to do. Right now, he is a single parent, and some of you out there are single parents and you understand what he's going through. However, there is a difference here. He's not just a single parent. He is the only parent. There is no other person that he can turn to as he did before and say, hey, do you think we should do this with Liam? What do you think about this? Let me toss this around with you. It is only himself and God. And the weight of that is enormous, because you want to do so right for your child, and you so want to honor your spouse. He so wants to honor Sherilyn, and he is the only one that is there. A part of Tesfa died on that day that Sherilyn died. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to somebody about this, and people don't understand that when your spouse dies, a part of you too dies. You will never, ever be that person that you were before. You are different, not in a bad way, in a different way. You look at life differently, and Tesfa is looking at life differently, and he always will. But you know, there is always a choice to be made. And in this particular point, you have three choices at this time. You can either stay where you are. And what that means is you live in these memories and you talk as if your spouse is still there, like they've just left. And oh, yes, she used to make these incredible cookies. And you're still kind of living there in that reality. And that's a choice. And you have another choice. You can move on. When you move on, what you do is you take these memories and you put them away. And you don't want to touch them because it's so painful. Because you loved this person so much. And then the third choice is moving forward. And it's a combination of staying there and moving on. Because when you move forward, you take each step and you slowly take it in front of the other one. And you realize that you still have that person that you loved so very much. They are still there, but in a different way. Not like they're out in the room or not like they're bottled up, but they are still there. And when you move forward, you will always have Sherilyn with you. I will always have Gary with me. You realize when you move forward that you are been given a gift because you can open yourself up and you still have these incredible memories that right now are still very raw, but right now are painful. But as time moves forward and as you move forward, you go back to these memories and they bring you such joy, such comfort. And as you continue to move forward, you realize that this bleeding experience that you've had has slowly started to have a scab. And as the scab has formed, it then moves into a scar. And although you feel the rest of your body being the same, that scar always feels a little bit different. And that is a gift. It's something that you carry with you forever. You will never forget Sherilyn. I know you will never forget Sherilyn. That love that I have seen and witnessed through testimonies, through you, for you, that's there forever. And that is a gift. And it's a gift that you're going to be able to share with your son. And as you continue to move forward, you will always know that God is there. And that perseverance that you've had will always be there because God is with you and he is with your entire family. I wish you well on your journey. It's filled with many ups and downs, and you go in kicking and screaming because you so do not want to be there. But there you are, and you only have 3 choices. Once again, God lets you make those choices. And which choice will you make? I believe Sherilyn would want you to make the choice of moving forward, because moving forward allows you to enrich your life and enrich your son Liam's life. Know that you can call me whenever you want. And to all of you out there, please, I challenge you, continue to support Tesfa and his family. They need it. They need it 6 months from now.
Paul's batting 3, and he's going to give us a little update on some of the things that have come in for good news for Tesfa and Liam.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Yeah, we have some donations here that I want to mention. Janet Ford for $350. Rob Tallis, $350. Marcia Enlow, $300. And then there's some other donations. I'm not going to mention any specific names, but a $25 donation, $150, another $25, and another $50. and another 30. And we're still getting donations as we speak. And as they come in, I'll come back and mention the generosity of all these folks. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Thank you, everybody, on those donations. And I think we're going to have a great evening. Testa and Liam are here. Some of their friends from Legacy Park are with us. And I think we're going to have a good evening. It's funny being in the 4 spot. I never was a good enough hitter to ever do that in real life, but I enjoy it tonight with everything that's been in front of me. I want to talk a little bit about HOG and our sponsorships and how important they have become to us. One with the virtual and hiring our great video team from Livestream. It's just been fantastic. And now we're doing all the dinners on Facebook and YouTube. And so right now, people say, why do you need donations? Well, because this ministry is a business, and this ministry needs outside help to continue what we plan to do to help a man going through a life-changing crisis. So I've been very fortunate over the 8.5 years with some of the people that have stepped up and taken that role for us. And tonight I would just like to mention them and start off with Archer's Restoration, who's been with me pretty much since the beginning. Joel Williams and Williams Ellaby attorneys have been with me the last 4 years and are just great attorneys and do their job. We're lucky we don't have to see them 12 times a night on late TV, but they're there to do the job, and they do a great one. Chick-fil-A, Andy Duncan has been with us from the beginning, and because I think a lot of you know, his building has been closed down, and so we haven't stepped up and asked him to help us out on anything, but it's nice to be involved with Andy Duncan and the Chick-fil-A people. Cobbie and C community. We've been very fortunate over the last 3 years to have received 4 nice grants for them to help run HOG. And they've come in at a time that we could use that help, and we were very fortunate to get those grants. We've got the Bright Sides newspaper, a lot of you know about, Wickenhofer Dignity Funeral Home, Georgia Funeral Home. Yeah, we're lucky. We've got Janie's going to have to flip a coin on the funeral homes, and thank God that's her job and not mine. And we're blessed with some great restaurants that have jumped in to help us, and that's why we're looking to get back to doing the dinners, because we've picked up 1885, which is a new restaurant here in Ackworth, and if you haven't been there yet, you need to stop by. It's outstanding. And Johnny's Pizza has been with us for about 6 years. Carrabba's has been with us for 6 years. Big Shanty Barbershop. I went in there one time. I've never had to go back. They did a great job. State Farm, Peggy Massey. Georgia Trade School, which is a welding trade school in Ackworth. I'll tell you, if there's young men that are looking for a trade, Georgia Trade School, 99% of their kids, when they graduate, they've got a job. They were involved in building the battleship that they built from the leftover steel from 9/1, and it's just a good place to go if you want to get a great career. And Generation Pizza also, Crab Apple, and then last but not least is North Star Church. They have been with me since I made my decision to get away from the restaurants and let people have a dinner with us and then we would honor the person that we were honoring. And it's worked so much better. And Steve Salyu, who is our facilities person, it couldn't work and deal with a better person. And I promise you, I'm not the only one that works with Steve. I don't realize why he's got so much hair still on his head. But, and Arch Bagels, I think everybody in Ackworth, Kennesaw area know about that. So these people have all stepped forward and have helped HOG and are helping HOG. So, by the way, Superior Plumbing is also one of our good sponsors, and I've been involved with them and their cookouts for the last 5 years. So we have some very nice sponsors who step up when I ask. We send out a letter in December, and usually by this time of year, we're pretty well caught up, and we're in that position already this year. So we've been blessed, and I can only open my hands and say thank you to them for the job they do. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't realize that HOG has to do, that when we do a dinner and we have 185 people to dinner and we feed them and everything, it just doesn't happen. We've got a lot of great volunteers that on the night of the dinner, they're there and we take the room that Steve has set up and we decorate it, or they decorate it and take care of it. So not only am I blessed with sponsors, I'm blessed with some great volunteers and some great board members. So I just thought tonight would be a good night to say thank you to those people, because you know, we've gone through a very tough year with the virus, and hopefully it's over our shoulders, behind us, but we've still got to be careful. And I just want to thank everybody. We've got some nice guests that came to be here tonight with Tesfa, and they're not, unfortunately, not getting to see, but hear us, and I hope as we go forward, they will enjoy it. I think right now we're going to listen to Lindsay, and Lindsay has a couple of beautiful songs she did for us late last week, and I turn it over to Lindsay Peterson, our beautiful and great sounding artist.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Lindsay, and I'm so glad I could be with you guys tonight. Even though maybe not in person, I can, at least record something to just help with this charity that I think is just wonderful, about helping one guy. And I'm just here to sing a couple songs that you probably heard in church. This first one, I'm sure that many of you have probably heard. It's just maybe has been a while, and just hope you enjoy it. Water you turned into wine, open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you, there's none like you. Into the darkness you shine, out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater. Into the darkness you shine, out of the ashes we rise. There's no
All right, I guess I'm back to bat, and Tesfa, we'd like for you to come up and join us. And I'm here with Tesfa, Taitt, and Tesfa. It's an honor to be with you, and it's also an honor to be honoring you.
It's an honor to be here, sir.
Well,
thank you so much for everything you're doing.
In the audience is Cindy Davis, who introduced us and got us together, and I'm going to talk to her a little later on here, but you know, you explained the situation so well on what we had on the internet, and we sent out to everybody. Your wife, from what I read and what Lori said, was a brave lady and a beautiful lady, you know. Yes. And I know that she found out 6 months after Alima was born and everything, I think, from what you told me.
Right.
So let's give me a little bit of what happened after you got the news and the way you moved and things of that nature.
Right. So 6 months after Liam was born, you know, she was diagnosed with what's called ulcerative colitis, which was UC. For those who not familiar with the condition, it's inflammation within the lower intestines that pretty much develops ulcers. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we never heard of this, so we had to do due diligence and research and figure out what this is, and it was a struggle. So for the first 8 years, she was back and forth in the hospital, and there were times that she was in pain and couldn't really function as the way she wanted to, as the way she knew how to, because she was just such a caring, giving, go-getter, just loved life, loved her family, and it was just a devastating situation that just came out the blue. But we persevered. We did what we had to do to make sure that she was well. And there were many times she was strong, and when the flare-ups didn't happen, you wouldn't think she was sick. Mm-hmm. She put on a brave face. She was strong. Mm-hmm. She was just there for us. Mm-hmm. It was just so sad that this occurred, but she did the best she can.
Right. Yeah. And I think, really, to interrupt you, that I think it was nice, the words that Lori said, because she'd been there, losing Gary, and we honored Gary, and unfortunately, I think it was June, and he passed away in December that year. But so the words that came from her were as sincere as the words that come from you, because of both having been in the situation. You, unfortunately, were in a little younger part of your life, as her children were older, high school and one in college at the time. So, but tell us how the people in Legacy Park, who I think are, we've honored 2 other people from Legacy Park, and it's been outstanding, and just tell me how they came to bat for you.
Oh, absolutely. So my son, who is a Boy Scout, we met majority of the families that supported us during this incredible time through the Scout. So many of the Scout moms and Scout dads stepped up and just supported us and just gave us the love and the admiration that we needed during this rough time. Anything we needed, someone was there. They, just was, provided what the support and the love that we required.
And I know your wife was a great cook, so
yes.
These people took a chance and fed you, hoping that it would be as good.
Well, that's the thing. So like I said, she wasn't always in constant pain every single day. There were months she would go as, that you wouldn't know she was in pain at all,
Right.
but she just had a fondness of cooking, and she was just a master chef,
Right.
Whatever she needed, I'm like, okay, if you want to prepare this meal today, just let me know what I need to go get, and I'll just go get the ingredients, and I'll help you out. Let's prepare this meal, and I mean, everything just came out wonderful. So those that don't know, she was in this group, this foodie group, and she used to post all her pictures, and everyone was just in such awe. They would like to just leave where they are and come to our house, and just, even though they live far away, but yeah, she just had a passion for cooking.
Right, and you enjoyed that because you'd go to
Yeah, I put on
Publix.
extra pounds.
You'd go to Publix and get what she asked
Publix,
for.
Kroger's,
Right,
wherever, Whole Foods, whatever she needed.
Right, wherever you had it.
Farmers markets, get some of the ingredients, some of the
Vegetables.
Right, we can find in certain areas, so we went to where they were.
Yeah.
But her passion was just taking care of her family, cooking, and just being who she is, a wonderful guiding light.
One of the things that I love about HOG, and Lori mentioned it, is that when this is over tonight and when I get you your check tomorrow and everything, we're not leaving you. We're a telephone call away. Touch base, and we're so close. Maybe if you go to get one of your wife's old recipes, I should join you to give it to Janie, and maybe it'll,
I'm not sure if it's going to come out exactly the way she made it, but I will definitely attempt. I've been doing a lot of YouTubing, and just looking at recipes, and just looking at the ones she gave me, and I had at the house, and just trying to recreate some of the meals. I'm hit and miss with some of them, but I'm trying.
And how important has your job with Liam and everything, since all of a sudden it's just the two of you instead of the three of you?
Oh yeah, so he's my first and foremost priority. So whatever, it's a struggle right now. Just making sure he does what he needs to do. He's eating well. 10-year-olds, they're picky.
Right.
So it's just figuring out what he wants to eat and making sure he's ready for school and he's doing his homework, and and I'm also making sure that he's also having fun. It's really tough, and just being different, giving him the hugs and the kisses that he needs,
Right.
and let him know everything's going to be all right.
Right.
We're going to make it through this.
Yeah.
It's a devastating blow within our life path, but we are going to take the baton and run this new relay called life. And forge a new chapter and find happiness once again.
One of the things I think the Lord has for you, you've accepted this, and I know there's been times when you were alone and people didn't see you cry, and we all know that. But I think that the way you present it and the way you talk to it, I wouldn't be surprised if God uses you to talk to other men when this happens. Because your heart, you knew what you had to do. You knew you lost your best friend, but you knew, okay, I've got a wonderful son, and I can't just sit in his house and not do anything but cry. And you took the challenge, and I'm really proud of you. From the first time I met you, and I saw that he was your most important, Liam was your most important thing, and that you were a dad wearing two hats, and you've accepted the challenge, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
And when I check on you, because I know a lot of great people from Legacy Park, my good friends Chris and Lee that own Johnny's and everything, and then tonight from the Rob Tillis Foundation, that they started from when Rob passed away. They started this foundation, and they, instead of take flowers like people said, they said send it to HOG. And through that, we were blessed with over $5,000. So Jennifer and myself, we talked how we wanted to do it, scholarship, whatever. And her feeling and her father-in-law's feeling was that, hey, let's help the other honorees, which were, you knew Rob, if you didn't know Rob Tillis, I know that's what he'd say.
Right.
And so did Jen and his dad. So we start every honoree with $350 out of that money.
Okay.
And then we HOG matches that number. So we start out with a little money in the bank when we start. It's been a good challenge and everything. But I'm proud to know that we brought you in the HOG family.
Thank you.
And as I said earlier, if there's anything we can do, and one of my good friends who is becoming a sponsor, Lakewood Landscape Management, is going to take care of your lawn for the next 3 months for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You know,
Thank you.
that's,
Thank you
and you'll meet the owner, who's a Reagan, who's a good guy, but he and I spoke yesterday, and he sent me the letter that I don't have today to give you, but I'll get one to you hopefully tomorrow when I get the check. I'll give you that too and everything.
Thank you so much. Again, words can't express how grateful and how touched I am for your organization, for this ministry, for honoring my wife in this way.
Right.
So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart,
Well,
and from Liam as well.
We're blessed. We're lucky that God gives us the opportunity to do what HOG, and it's not Bob Kelly, it's HOG and the people I spoke of earlier, our board, our sponsors, because, in business, there's a thing people talk about, ROI, return on investment.
Yes.
Well, in the ministry, it's not those 3 words. It's, see, I've got it, it's return on inspiration. And when I talk to a sponsor, and if he says, I said, you can't look at the ROI. You got to look at the inspiration, what it does for the people that we're helping, and hopefully that they'll keep that and they'll take it forward. So, as I'm just honored to have become a friend, and like I said, all we got to do is call that number, and we'll help you out, and we're with you completely.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
Okay, great.
God bless you.
Same.
You're a big man. You would have been a tackle on my football team.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we got a couple more things. Lori's got a little thing to say. We here. We got it right here, Lori. One of the things we tried to do different, because there was a young man involved in this, somebody on the board said, hey, why don't we talk to his teacher? And I said, hey, that's a great idea. So we did. Tesfa got a letter signed and everything, and we went and shot it, and was going to have a video tonight, but we were told through a couple of administrators that wouldn't be good, because the piece of paper says that she was going to talk to me, not talk to all these people out here, not knowing what kind of ministry we were really about, and what it wasn't anything to do with us, it was about them. So we took that video, and I asked Lori to study it, and what Nancy said, and she's going to put into words what Nancy, we couldn't use her video. All right? Lori, go ahead, hon.
Well, it was a wonderful video to watch, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. The one thing that kept coming to mind was how she had expressed that when Liam came back to school, he was very quiet. He had a difficult time kind of like really wanting to play, because of course he was dealing with what he was dealing with. They came in right after, before he'd come in, and had the counselors come in, and had talked to his classmates, and had also sent letters home to the families to let them know what Liam was going through. And the teacher, Nancy, she was so wonderful. I loved this idea. She had all of the children write letters to Liam to let him know, how they felt about this and their thoughts and just about anything. And I thought that that was so wonderful. And it was such a beautiful interview. And I'm so sorry that we were not able to show that to you all. But it was interesting also because having been in this situation, my girls were 18 and 20 when their dad died. And yes, the ages were different. And all kids are resilient. And that's something that we all need to realize. They're pretty more resilient than adults are. However, 2 months out, and that's how you actually refer to your spouse having passed. Oh, it's 2 months out. Oh, it's 5 months out. It's 6 months out. For me, it's 5.5 years out. And 2 months out, my daughter told me that some friends of hers had come to her and said, hey, when are you going to be yourself again? I mean, come on, my gosh. I mean, how long are you going to, kind of be upset? And she was kind of shocked. She didn't know what to say or how to say this and even how to answer their question. And one of them said, hey, my mom and dad are divorced, it's like, come on, move, And I know that for Liam, at age 10, the kids may not come out like that they did when they were 18, but kids sometimes, in trying to be helpful, can be can really hurt a person. That hurt my daughter terribly. She did not know how to react to that. She did not even know how to respond to that. She honestly left. And if you knew both of my daughters, they're just beautiful young women now and moving forward. But at that time, they were still so raw. And Liam, it's going to be raw for you sometimes. And what the teacher did was wonderful. And these children are showing as much sympathy as they can. And that's the difference between sympathy and empathy. Because fortunately, they cannot have that empathy. And how wonderful that is. Because to have that empathy means that they've had to have that loss. It's hard for a 10-year-old to project that loss on themselves. Yes, you can think, oh, well, my dog died or my grandma died, but it is totally different than when your parent passes. And so as Liam, as you move forth, please know that things that happen, it's because people do not understand. And Liam is so much wiser than most people, and definitely most people his age. There is another verse that I just truly, the previous verse and this verse I really relied on. This is from Psalms 18:2. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. So when these situations happen, because they will come about. And as you progress and as you go into a new school, when you go into 6th grade and you go into a new school and you meet new kids, you're going to sit there and you're going to say to yourself, do I tell them? What do I do? I don't know. Should I tell him? Should I be that open? I don't know. You'll have all of these questions. And know that you always have your dad to turn to. He will always be there. But also know that your Lord is your rock. And he is there for you as well. And Nancy's was so right in saying that these children did so much and are continuing to do so much. And the parents are continuing to do so much. But you have to also realize that 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds, 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds, most of them will not be able to empathize. And you just have to realize that. And it's a hard realization, but know that God is your rock. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Those, you know, I was there in June of 15? 14. And it was the biggest night we had at HOG, to the point when Mike Lynch, the pastor, stopped by. He says to me, he said, "Bob, I didn't know you were starting a church on me." And I took that as a compliment, and I also took it as the first step. But Liam, you're a young man, and you're going to be wiser and better as you get older. And you, like your dad, will help some of your friends that may have to go through what you've gone through. And don't be afraid to step up and help them, because I'm really proud of you. You were 9 years old when Mom went to heaven, and now you're 10. And, you know, I look forward through your dad to watch you. And if you ever start playing baseball and need a little help, I know a good coach that can help you. And by the way, for those of you out there, it's not myself. But I will get that person, and we'll make you a good ball player. Okay? Is that a deal? All right. I think we got to go to Paul one more time, and then we'll come down and I'll get ready to close out.
Thanks, Bob. I was during the program, by the way, great job, both you and Lori.
Finally woke up.
Tesla, really moving. So I was doing the chat behind the scenes, trying to find out what other donations have come in during the night. And so what the response I got back, because I wanted to read them, the response was several, several. So that's the good news. So unfortunately, I can't name the exact amounts because it was Michael who's running the camera. He just said several. So that's good. So I'm really pleased with all the generosity shown tonight for this wonderful family. I pinch myself being just a small part of this organization that does such wonderful things for people, and just a great program tonight. It's really moving. So that's all I got to say.
Appreciate everything you've done tonight. I know you've had dinner in between takes, but I'll let you know what kind of return I get on that application I'm putting on the website tomorrow. I love you. Cindy, I love you also. Your husband's not watching, right? Oh my God. I'm only kidding. But Cindy called me. I got a phone call one day, and Cindy called, we didn't know, and she said, "I may have somebody that you could help." And I asked for, okay, tell me a little bit about it. And as soon as she told me, I knew he was a gentleman that was going through a life-changing crisis with he and his son. So where had you heard about HOG living in Legacy Park? I think I may know the answer, but I'd like for you to
So living in Legacy Park, it's a huge community, but it's also very tight knit, especially when, someone needs help with something. People just jump to help with meals and different events and things. And through a couple of previous residents who had been honorees of HOG, I remember hearing about the dinners and the ministry that you have and helping folks going through a crisis. And so that's how I found out about HOG.
Okay, and one of those is the Rob Tinsley foundation that I mentioned that starts us off with $350 for every honoree. And then we did Jennifer Lane. Rick Lane, we honored Rick, and his wife, if we go back 4 years, on that beautiful December day, we had such a pretty snow, and the next morning on Saturday, it was just beautiful in the all over Atlanta. It was just a pretty snowstorm. And Rick and Jen said, let's take a walk. They've got some real good walking paths at Legacy. So they were out walking, and unfortunately, a pine tree limb was overweighed with snow, fell, and came right down on the back of her neck between her two shoulders, and she went down. And right away, Rick's son, who I think was with him, he told him, call 911, and we need, well, what happened was because of the weather, Legacy Park, all the streets were full of snow. The EMC people had trouble getting in there and everything, but they finally did, and unfortunately, Jen was paralyzed below her waist, and so we honored Rick, and I'll tell you what, Legacy stepped up and did a good job for her. And I've seen her a couple of times. She is in a wheelchair, but her attitude is, do you know, have you ever met?
I don't know her personally, but I know very good friends of hers.
Right, and very, very much has a great attitude. And, it really amazes me. I mean, I was born in New York, but I don't claim New York because I grew up in South Florida. But it amazes me that Legacy Park, the way they built it with different sections and different prices and the whole thing. But they have their own voting precinct. I mean, that's one thing. It's amazing. But they're like a little town. The newsletter, and then the lady Joanne that does some HOA work and everything. So I mean, you guys are living in a great development, and they got a big pool, and the one thing that I miss is the July 4th deals. I mean, I used to go over there, and when Johnny's was cooking making pizzas and everything, and I never stayed for the fireworks because from where I live, we could see the fireworks and everything. So, but just a great place, and your involvement with Boy Scouts.
Right, so that's how I met Tesfa and Shar and Liam, was through the Legacy Parks Cub Scout pack. And that's another very tight-knit group within Legacy. So there's just a lot of opportunities to connect with people through sports or clubs, and it was just really fun meeting Tesfa and Shar and seeing how close a family they were and great parents to Liam, and how much they enjoyed scouting. So it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember when I went to Rob's funeral, the gentleman who was the head of the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts over there, he spoke at his funeral.
Oh, Steve Parker is one of his best friends.
Steve Parker spoke, and that's a tough job for anybody in that situation. But Steve really came across and told people what kind of guy Rob Tillis was, and he was that kind of guy. And but right after he became an honoree, he came to all our dinners afterwards until the virus came and we had to shut down dinners. And then he got sick that last summer, and around August, I guess, he got passed. Sometime just before October. It was October.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, I've been blessed with the people I have met and know from Legacy Park. And no doubt if I would have moved over to Kennesaw when I was younger, I would have lived there. Instead, I took the Vineyards address, which is for people just over 35, and I qualified for that. But Cindy, I want to thank you because you bring me the true heart of the people at Legacy Park. I can't say more than enough good things. And Chris and Lee have become very close friends with Twyla and Susan. And, you know, this ministry has blessed me as much as I've been able to bless the honorees. Have met such great people. In fact, I had lunch with one of our sponsors, the Barrows, on Monday, and we got talking about my baseball family, how many people I had met through baseball, and I can be fortunate and brag and say one of those people I became friends with was Bobby Cox. And everything you heard about Bobby is true. He was a fiery manager, and that's why he has more tosses out than anybody else in Major League Baseball. But you know, and then again, I'll be very honest. When I was 35 or 40, I never thought one day God would give me a job and make me a disciple and to open my hands to help other people. But it's the best blessing I've ever had. I've got a beautiful wife, and but what he gave me when he tapped me on the shoulder and asked me about HOG, I hope to God he's at the front gate when I go through so I can give him a hug. But I want to thank you, Cindy, for what you've done.
Thank you.
And I've already put you on the committee to help me find men going through a life-changing crisis and everything. And I appreciate you being here tonight and sticking through it and without being. Did you guys hook up to the camera? Did you get to watch it on your phones?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good deal. So I want to say thank you, and I want to say, Cindy, God bless you, and we'll see each other more.
Okay.
Okay?
Deal.
All right. All right. I am now going to get ready to say goodnight to everybody. There's a couple of things. Steve Sellers has been here. In fact, he's still here. He's got to close up when we're finished here. But I've talked to him. I've talked to Jamie. And with the grace of God, we will have a dinner in June. Now, you got to remember what I said before I said with the grace of God. And if he opens it up, we'll no doubt be allowed to do 125 people. So it'll be reservations and everything. But I so pray that happens, because as you sat through this tonight and watched it on your phone, to be at a dinner is so different and so much warming, and there's, as we all know, camaraderie, So I hope that happens. We've got an honoree already selected, and I just pray that it can happen and everything. And I want to close out, as I talked about ROI earlier here. I want to tell you, I get Kevin Scott, who is not a member of North Star, but he's a leader. He's got a ministry, and he helps Mike with Lunch with a Leader. And he sends out a letter every other week, and that's where I found the ROI thing. But he says, increasing inspiration is the often overlooked ingredients that can take an organization from ordinary to extraordinary. And if you remember, when I first started, I used to say we were taking an ordinary Tuesday night and changing it into an extraordinary Tuesday night through the help of all the people that were there. So I'm proud that Kevin wrote this. I'm proud that I read it and that I brought it with me tonight. But the next dinner is June 8th. And like I just told you a minute ago, we're hoping that we can have a dinner and we can get together and see each other in person. But until then, I want to say God bless everyone. Liam, Tesfa, God bless you two guys. And I will see you all on the 8th. If you're not doing anything this weekend, we got the Big Shanty Festival in Kennesaw. New restaurant down there, the Gus's, that we helped open and everything. And so if the weather's nice and you get to run into Marlin and Jay Cunningham with Superior, and then if you go by the Big Shanty Barbershop, Conrad and Shannon will be over there. So, have a good weekend. Keep God in your life. And as I sign off on my letters and my emails, in His light. God bless you all.
So if y'all know this one, please join along and sing with me. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire, the darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. Every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. 'Cause your goodness is running, it keeps running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness Thank you, HOG, for having me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night.